first thing I'm going to introduce you to is this color that I'll be using and the stamp set that I'll be using. This is the classic stamp pad in early Espresso. I will link all of these things in my description so that you can go find them yourself. Nature's Harvest Cling stamp set, I just got this recently. This also has corresponding dies that go with it. But I really like this script because, as you saw with this old postcard, it has that same kind of look. I mean, obviously this is 1907, so we've got some different fonts in play. This is just nice. It looks a little bit typed, handwritten, and it just has sort of a little more vintage vibe to it. Maybe a thank you. Will that fit? Yeah. So I lay them out on my paper, and then I fold my stamparatus over, and the backside of these stamps is clingy, so they stick. It's not sticky, it won't stick to your fingers, but it's a little bit clingy, almost like color forms used to be when I was a kid. So I take my stamp pad, and then I just sort of lightly do that, and then fold it over. And voila. This is the inside piece. Like, it's gonna go like that. And I'll glue it at the top there, so it's kind of like it's sort of like you can open it up like that. You maybe put a picture behind it or something. And a lot of people decorate this interior panel as well. They might put a sentiment, they might put a little stamp in the corner. So I'm gonna try a little stamp in the corner. So I am going to get this ready. If you don't have a stamp, but you have ephemera, you could also do something kind of lightweight, like an old stamp or a little ticket stub or something like that, you know, a little tag. This background paper, sometimes, you know, it's what would be considered negative space once you put all of your components on it, all your elements. But sometimes it's nice to give the background a little texture. Some people will use watercolor techniques and all kinds of things, but I thought it might be fun to take the words and just sort of kind of take the excess ink off of them and sort of go around like that. Just sort of like a shadow. It has a double purpose. It cleans off your stamp, but it also keeps you from wasting ink. So that's kind of nice. You know, why not? Before you clean it, why not add a little bit of texture? And then what I'm going to do is going to create a hinge of glue. This. Got a little bit. Take my finger, get rid of it. Now you're gonna see it's just gonna go so fast. You have everything ready. Basically now it's just about finishing the assembly. And this part, after you've done all your planning, goes very quickly. So I've got my glue, I've got my dimensionals. I'm gonna start by adding some dimensionals to the back of my designer series paper, beautifully penned. This is something I got from the Celebration promotion for spending a certain amount of money. I'll link that. And I don't want any gaps. I might leave this open just so I can slide something under it if I want to. You can see that kind of gives it a little bit of a lift. This is a little bit more unstable paper. It's older, so I'm gonna use glue on it. But I'm not going to put it around all the way to the edges. I'm gonna be just very gently sort of give it a nice thin layer. I like that texture, so I don't want to lose that texture too much by pasting it down. It's not decoupage. Then I want to take my baker's twine. I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to wrap this like this. This is the front. I'm going to secure this on the back. You don't have to tie it very tightly. I'm going to take a dimensional and I'm going to secure it. Like that. Again, I like the texture of it looking like a scrapbook. Then I'm going to take my die cut and I'm going to manipulate the flowers a little bit just so that they're not so flat. I have a pressed flower right here and you can see it has dimension to it. So just to mimic that organic feel, we're gonna do that. And I am going to take a tip that I learned from Susanna in Austria when I remade a card mimicking hers for a challenge for my team this week. She used the baker's twine in such a cool way. I thought she used it to tie it around this organic looking paper. Oops. Okay. And then she tucked it down like this, and she took her sentiment, and she put the glue on the, I don't know what she did, but what I did to try to mimic it was I put the glue on the edges. I suppose you could even use a dimensional in the middle to give it a little bit of a lift. That. It just kind of looks like it's there in the scrapbook. And I'm going to put another dimensional on the back of this. There, just have a little bit of a lift. Then I'm going to take my charm from part 1. I'm going to stick it through the ribbon. And snip that. Tighten that up. So you have like a little bit of whimsy. A charm. This looks tied down, and then I'm going to use my technique where I take a scrap paper and dip it into the glue like a spatula. I'm just going to kind of run it underneath side here like this. This will dry clear, so you don't have to worry about it showing really. A little bit of texture might show, but that's okay. You might need to use that spatula one more time under here. Don't be skimpy with the glue. Alright. Then I'm going to take some of these sequins that I have. Take my sequins. Take a little paintbrush and I'll put a little dot of glue. And then I'll put my sequin on the glue. And they say to use the sequins and things like that in odd numbers. So groups of 3, maybe just 1. They're kind of hard to pick up. For something a little heavier or a little larger, you'd want to use more glue, like a pearl or like a button. So there you have it. Just something with a little interest here. A reminder to never forget how much you mean to me and so many others. And you've got your area for writing a note on the inside, an area to write on the back, and then the last thing you want to do is I created a stamp that says made by using my Zazzle account, which I've been doing for a long time now. And I like to take a stamp, take the made by. This is what it looks like. And on the back side of the card at the bottom, I like to make a little stamp, made by, and then I sign my name. And there you have it. You let that dry, and then you've got a wonderful card to send to a friend. Something to note is that if you have something a little heavier duty or a little bit, you can see that it sticks up a little bit. It might add a little weight to your letter. It may require extra postage. So that's up to you if you want to decide to do something like that for mailers. This might be a better hostess gift, something to put with as a thank you for having somebody to a dinner party or something like that. Don't forget to shop with me on my Stampin' Up! Portal. Link is in the description below. Thank you for watching.